and the rest of you are well. I've got one ban left.
When Fnatic is run protect the AD carry comps, they needed the Kalista to be there. So effectively by banning that, you shouldn't have to go for Janna and Lulu bans as well. Now Unicorns, they have to go for Elise, take the Shen away as well. So this is what we just talked about. Yep. What they could do on the first rotation, you steal away their potential flex pick of Shen, the global pressure that can also stop Hylissang from roaming, or at least make it harder for him because there's another global coming, and you get the stronger early jungler.
So now if that Shen ends up being played top, yes, you may have a losing matchup in the Shen, but you fix that by adding Elise. If you have a losing matchup with somebody else, you fix that by adding the Shen. So you have more options, more band-aids to your problems, and then you at least put some pressure on Fnatic. This could open up for an aggressive assassin pick in the mid lane from Power Evil. Perhaps he wants to just counter pick right now and actually make it work, put some pressure on Febiven, perhaps an Ahri, something else.
And if we see Alistar being taken away from Fnatic now, the normal #1 priority, Unicorns still have tons of support picks. They've run Annie in the past if they want to have a super aggressive all-in composition where you can use that Shen global as well to force fights. Annie could be your option. Otherwise, Thresh, Morgana has been the safer choices for Hylissang. We know he's so fantastic at landing these skill shots. I personally like him on Annie. I think he needs to be the playmaker. He needs to be the main engage for Unicorns of Love to set up these wombo combos they like to use.
If you run a roaming support on Hylissang, though, I really don't like the Lucian. I think you need to have an AD carry that can fend for himself. The only one remaining on this list is pretty much Corki. Then you kind of run into the problem that you have to balance it out with 80 damage, because otherwise people will stack too much armor. But I feel that you'd rather have that problem in the late game than have a problem in the early game already.
Talking about the Olaf lock-in as well. There was whispers it could have been a flex for Fnatic. We expected to go in Rain over his hands considering his summoner spells, but it's been used 3 times in split, and it's been used exceptionally well from Fnatic.
And we've seen it top lane. We saw it yesterday from Odo Amne. We've seen it also in NA. It's a fantastic, strong top laner. And it is a great matchup into Olaf. When we talk about how do you get the stronger early game in that 2v2 up there, Olaf is going to be one of them. I think personally he's one of the strongest laners in the game. And of course, as you mentioned, it is that flex option.
Now we have a bit of an adaptation here from the Unicorns. Instead of saying, okay, roaming support, so we pick an AD carry that fits. No, we pick Lucian and we pick a support that fits. Lucian Braum is an incredibly potent lane because the double shot obviously allows you to add 2 passes to the stack of Winter's Bite. You can go for stuns. Also, it has good peel, Braum, so when Fnatic is charging at you with that Sivir OF combination, you can block the axes, shut off their pathways with the Braum ultimate. So in that sense, skirmish heavy composition from Unicorns, but this might be better at least.
Here's my concern though. You're building a composition around snowballing Vardax. You give him a lane support that fits with him. You have
Fnatic
a Shen.
Will never see it coming.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you're right now saying basically Vardax, you need to win your lane. We're going to have the Shen coming down from top lane to assist you. We have the support that fits you in the laning phase as well. This is the guy who's gone even in almost every lane he's played.
Exactly. And in all their preparation that Fnatic has done, they found out that Vardax will always go even. So surprise, surprise.
I mean, I don't think Fnatic is too afraid of this. I mean, look what they're drafting now.
Yeah.
Insane team fights on it. They're saying, okay, fair enough. You take the stronger level 1 jungler. We're not going to try and go for this 2v2 fight necessarily top lane right now. Instead, we're drafting for a heavy team fight composition around the mid game. Nash's Tooth on Azir. Rumble gets his magic penetration. And then we say, dragon fights? Yes, please.
And I also remember Fnatic talking about the Olaf in the jungle. They always know they can get to late game. He prefers Olaf in certain circumstances. But when you combat him with the Sivir, which Fnatic have done all 3 times they've run that champion, then it's going to work out. So Unicorns have rounded out their team composition. We are going back to a mid AP Israel.
God damn it, Power of Evil.
I hope that Smite changes.
You know Runeglaive has changed, right?
Well, I know I do, but I don't know if Power of Evil does. We are 5-14 for everybody that's at home. Runeglaive no longer works on minions. He's got 20 seconds to change it. I'm expecting it to change.
Doesn't convert to magic damage either for him. I mean, we have seen some 80 Ezreals.
Even if it worked, the problem I have with this pick is that it is, again, it's like
it's the same.
Poke and wait while your entire team wants to go in and skirmish. Yes, Fnatic may be running this like Exodia-esque teamfight composition where they will just annihilate you around dragons, but you kind of opt in for that anyways when you go full-on China style, when you run Lucian Braum, Shen Elise early, like, and you want all this aggressive CC coming out, and then Ezreal.
And now you also have less wave clear coming from the mid lane compared to last game. You also have longer scaling time because, again, you really need at least 2 items completed before you can start having an impact on this Ezreal. So you make everything slower for yourself in the mid lane, which was one of the problems in the last game as well.
Does this not signal a problem with Power of Evil's champion pool? It's something that we have talked about throughout the split, and PoE continues to trend for those scaling mid laners. He's not had a chance to use them in game 1. It's game 2. We'll find out if it'll work this time. Unicorns of Love looking to even out the score 1-1 in their semi-final.
And let's of course highlight that AP Israel was always a thing. Like you could always build AP Israel. There was more than just a Rune Glaive. There was just a massive buff to him.
Yeah, when Rune Glaive came out, everyone's like, oh, that ultimate deals so much damage.
Yeah, it's like, it's always...
It always did
damage.
that much damage,
So,
guys.
it's not like he's gonna be borderline useless, except for the first 25-30 minutes. And
Is that all?
Well,
Well,
okay.
in that case, I think we can go home and we
Just-
can write
just
this
quickly,
game off for the Unicorns.
It took 26 minutes for Fnatic to beat Unicorns in game 1 of the series. It took Fnatic 22 minutes to beat Unicorns in week 9.
I'm just trying to be positive. I don't like the pick. I think it's horrible.
Are you a way of being positive? Jesus
That's
Christ.
my split personality right here. We have the positive one and the...
not so positive one. All right,
Good
let's go over these compositions though. So
even
Fnatic,
dropped my pen in anger.
it's not your day, is it, Deficio?
What
Fnatic, they're running teamfight composition where they really want to posture around these objectives and then pop the Sivir ulti. If they can send in the Alistar for the combo, you know, Olaf speed up. Traditionally though, they paired it Olaf with a Lulu, so they could at least use Wild Growth on him, speed him up even more, and just making this one-man army, almost Darius-esque in the way TSM did it. This time he's a little squishier, so if he gets a little too aggressive or too ahead of himself, he can get blown up immediately. And we have follow-up peel coming out of the Braum from Hylissang.
Which is why we might see Fnatic in these fights here use the Sivir ulti a bit more defensive in terms of we can kite back, because again we have the Nash's Tooth, Ryla is coming in from the Zia, fantastic kite, and then Rumble ulti as well as in terms of disengage.
And looking at that Rumble, comboed with Reignover in the 2v2, we keep talking about the impact of the jungler plus top laner. It looks like we're going to have standard lanes again, so what are these 2v2s telling us?
It's a very interesting 2v2 in terms of who gets to jump on the other person, because there's a wealth of CC coming out of Shen and Elise, and a good amount of damage. Shen not so much, Elise does have a damage, but if they overreach and they get punished by a couple of axes and the Flame Splitter from Rumble, they can get grilled immediately. So interesting 2v2, but there's an option at least for winning it this time on the side of UOL.
I would honestly have loved to see Fnatic for that exact reason, and also for the reason that Shen is in the top lane. I would like to see Fnatic just have lane swap right here, because Shen is a top laner that requires a strong early game to get that early level 6, get an early tanky item, and then start using that pressure on the other lanes. You can shut that down very effective in a lane swap with a low ecom top lane and Rumble, of course.
You obviously don't know if Fnatic predicted a predicted lane swap by Unicorns and just decided to go bot lane. They are incredibly good at going even though, however, Lucian Barm should be able to find an opening here. And the added pressure of Winter's Bite early as a zoning tool has allowed the Unicorns to push in. So right now they have a pushing, winning matchup in the bot lane at least. Mid lane is obviously even farm fest on Ezreal into Azir. So again, they'll have to be watching top lane.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what Horror can do in this at least. Can he shut down Reignover in the early game? Use that to go for Huni. You have the Shen turned into Cocoon. That's a fantastic CC chain. And with the strong base stats of a Shen, you have good enough damage in the early game to take him down. I want to see if this ends up hurting Fnatic then, that they took standard lanes. Was it too greedy possibly? Or do they say, you know what, we can handle this. We just need some early vision to spot Horror, and then our laners are going to be fine.
As it stands, Fnatic are going even in bottom and mid lane. Huni's earned himself a small advantage over Chachi top, which you somewhat expect, and the wave is pushing away from Reckless and Yellow Star down bottom.
And they need to be careful now, because look what Reignover is doing again. He takes early Rift Scuttle on top side, and he early wards here to see, okay, Horror, the Raptor camp is gone, so we know he's taken it, and we haven't spotted him so far in 3 wards. He's going to be bot side, so be careful with this wave pushing up towards Unicorns.
And while the junglers are doing the exact same thing mirrored across the map, I feel there's more value out of what Reignover is doing, because he's protecting the a lot weaker, easily gankable top lane. The added Rift Scuttler and just some extra vision in the bottom isn't really going to matter, because it is so unlikely that Reignover is going to gank his lane bottom early, let alone mid lane from the right side, very passive Ezreal. So the vision in the top half of the map is just more valuable for both teams.
And you have the guaranteed CC in top in the Shen Taunt, compared to where you got to stack up on the Braum first. You also have double wards obviously on the bottom side with 2 trinkets, so it will always be harder. But you just burning Chachi a little bit while he's trying to get some CS.
Press Q, press S, win trade. We do see that Horror has moved himself up to the top lane. Not going to go for the gank as we see Yellow Star moving into the river. Some great stats, but there's that lane presence. The ward gonna time out short.
This could be first blood for them. There's no ward from Huni. Reignover hasn't spotted anything. The ping ward is what they're setting up everything for this. Huni is gonna walk straight into Horo.
Gonna be in trouble. Cocoon connects. Horo's gone spider form. Shilling Smite is down. He's gonna be able to follow with the repel, and does. Huni's already flashed. One more venomous poison. The volatile spiderling's coming out. No! The shield from Huni keeps him alive. A flash forward from Vizicachi, and he will get first blood.
I think that volatile spiderling not killing Huni may actually work in a favor, because now the first blood gold they shared plus an assist. More #worth coming out of that play. And it felt like Huni was smelling the play because Yellow Star on the bottom. You can see when that Scuttle Crab had been taken. That was a while ago, indicating that Horo could have already moved to the other side of the map. Huni smelled the gank, but unfortunately for him, Elise was already in the brush.
We just saw all the vision being placed from Fnatic very early on because they were expecting the first clear from Horo to go up to that top side and say, okay, we're now preventing the first gank. And then the vision slipped up when it came to the second time where Horo could then walk up, and we saw Huni go down. And we mentioned this, how easy it is for him to go up to this lane and kill Huni.
And that is one of the strengths of Elise. She's such a sustained jungler. She can gank at different times, whether it's 3:30, 4:30, or even 5 minutes. She can pinpoint those ganks at different minute marks, and that makes her very unpredictable, therefore a strong early game jungler.
Unicorns using it to their advantage to get that first blood. Unfortunately for Unicorns, the wave was so heavily pushed. Huni was not denied that 2.5 waves or so of experience. Has still got a CS advantage. Already has access to the equalizer, and we can see the lanes already backing. Power of Evil's hit 6 as well.
And Horo needs to return to this top lane, because what you want to do now is punish the no-flash rumble, and that again enables the Shen then to TP down to the bottom lane, because once you got that wave pushed out versus Huni, that's when Shen can leave. If he keeps shoving it into tower, Chachi might lose a tower for himself if he goes down bottom lane, not even getting a guaranteed kill.
That's what Reignover is trying to prevent here with some deep vision in the enemy jungle. He just wants to find Horo. That is usually his approach to the lanes. We said it before in the analysis, he doesn't really go for these ganks unless he knows where the enemy jungler is, avoiding the risk of a counter gank. Even now, if he doesn't find a Horo, he just takes away his camps and he says, Horo, well, if you want to do the best thing for you, which is gank top lane, you'll have to enter an empty jungle. They're meeting each other here at the Crux though.
So perfect
from Reignover. Doesn't get taunted though.
Perfect for Reignover. In fact, he gets to spot Horo now, so he gets...
And he takes half his jungle as well. Raptors are gone.
Take some of the jungle away. You prevent their potential second gank that was going to happen up top here. Huni can go back and get a second ward now as well. So they really make sure he's going to be safe, because now it's all about the Shen TP on the bottom side. Can Unicorns use it to snowball?
The problem I have with this draft is, imagine if this matchup played out the same way with, for example, an Ahri in the mid lane. That would now allow Power of Evil to go aggressive with a Stand United on his back, make a play somewhere. Ahri is running this very, very passive Ezreal. We see max range for everyone. Smells the gank coming out. He dashes backwards. No really potential for opening up the map for the Unicorns.
I also feel like if you want to run a scaling mid laner who lacks wave clear on outside of the ulti, in this case here, go something like a Kassadin into this Azir. That's a fine matchup for you once you hit level 6. Yes, you're going to be shoved down anyway, but this is going to be the same here for the Ezreal. And then it fits in with the rest of your composition when it comes to, hey, we need to dive onto the Sivir and Azir and the late game team fights with Shen ulti. That would fit in a lot better than a long range poke champion. We have to see though what Power of Evil can do late in the game.
Well, we saw Power of Evil throw out that True Shot Barrage to try and either steal the Raptors or maybe get a surprise kill on Reignover. There were some deep wards around the red buff of Fnatic from UOL, giving them some information to work with. There is a cleanse on Feathervin, and it's used this time around as opposed to heal from game 1 of the series. And we see Horo, he's picked up an early Sightstone on his first back. Reignover already got that Cinderholt completed. So everybody farming their way up. We're a minute away from what was a 3,000 gold lead for Fnatic in game 1. UOL, their stronger lanes are doing better this time around.
Horo now picks up the Scuttle Crab, top side of the river. A lot better deep vision coming out of Unicorns of Love, and that is the result of these winning lanes in terms of pressure. Yes, the CS might be even this game. Notorious, Reckless, and Vardax obviously for going even in CS at the 10-minute mark. However, this time Unicorns were pushing. This allowed them some deep work, some more information, and this holds Fnatic in check. They're no longer getting caught off guard as much. Whenever Fnatic is comfortable playing this game, they're only down 600 gold. We've seen teams get ahead 7,000 gold and still not beat Fnatic, so Unicorns will need to do more.
It's just all built around Horo and this Elise. It was testing the waters in game 1. Does Reignover play it? Yes, it is okay. We take it early rotation the next game. And it's paying off. He's a lot more active on the map. He doesn't have to really be so afraid of the Olaf, as we saw in the last matchup. Still, though, for Unicorns, they are looking to scale up Power Weevil and then try and set up this TP with the Shen. They haven't been able to use it yet because the lanes on the bottom side are so passive. It's just clear the waves, go back. Don't try any fights or any ganks when you know Shen can join.
And for Fnatic, I don't think they'll mind that too much. Get Huni close to level 11, wait till they can group up as a team, because you've highlighted the strength of the Fnatic team comp. No dragons taken yet, 10 minutes in. Neither team has had control of the bottom half of the map just yet.
This is the Fnatic early game we've seen so often in Summer Split. The low-risk early game. You don't have to go aggressive. You don't have to go for a crazy gank if you think there's a chance of a counter gank coming in from the Unicorn. So we just sit and farm. We wait for team fights where they have been the best team in Europe.
And they usually wait for the enemy team overreaching and then punishing that by a teleport from Huni. This could be the case right here. We see Horo lurking in that brush.
For another Silver lane.
Huni is prompted. He's ganking a Silver lane, and that is one of the... Alistar Silver is the pinnacle of net neutral lanes, because the Alistar will never go in for that combo unless he's absolutely sure he can't get counter ganked. He gets popped right now, but he still has ultimate. That's why Horo is not coming out of that brush. Also doesn't know if the next brush is warded or not, so he doesn't want to step in.
Still waiting there.
This is only gonna work if Unicorn set up a dive with the Shen. But that's again against an Alistar. Also, if Unicorn start randomly
here,
really shoving the wave.
Hit a minion!
He's dragging the minions to the wrong side. He wants to move reckless towards the brush, but you can't do that if you have minions on you, especially Horo as well. He could have actually had an angle on the Cocoon slightly earlier, but the play is too forced. And eventually,
Spell shield as well.
If you change these laning behaviors, I can almost guarantee that Vardax and Hylissang have not been playing like that in the laning phase so far. Therefore, Reckless and Yellowstar were likely aware that Elise was in that rush.
But that's why it would be way too predictable if that was ever gonna work. If Vardax starts randomly hard shuffling the wave, obviously they're gonna call, okay, Shen is gonna join in. Chachi now, he's in trouble.
I think he's dead, Deficio. Undertow. And kill credit to Featherbeard. Probably even better.
So one of the things you can do with this Nashor's early as is you can fast push your waves so effectively against an Ezreal who has to use his ulti to clear the waves out. You can just shove it in and leave. Notice how Featherbeard is going to return before the wave even hits his tower.
And this is the way plays turn out to be in League of Legends when it goes over multiple minutes. The play that was done here by Fnatic, which is moving 3 members to the top side, was set in motion by the Unicorns. By camping that bot lane, by using your resources so hard on the bottom side of the map, this leaves you exposed in the top side of the map. Perhaps not immediately, but 30-40 seconds later, Fnatic punished the top lane, punished that lane from GG Chachi, and obviously he can't stand United himself, unlike other lanes, so he has to be safe. And that's why I think it's a mistake from Horo trying to gank that top lane.
You need to gank the lane with the Shen, so you open up for the Shen to come down to that bottom lane. Use pink wards on the top side. Fight that vision with Reignover, but don't allow him to invade into your jungle freely over and over and take your camps and place the deep wards. You need to own that side if you're Horo. That's one of the ways you could have snowballs the early game. Instead now, we get a Fnatic lead once again. Yellowstar will be caught out, but he has ulti.
He does, and he throws it down. Unbreakable Will is out. Pulverize goes down. Reignover also has the ability to get rid of everything Braum can do. Ragnarok will be thrown in a second. Ghost is up. Ragnarok's up. Flash forward for the Mystic shot. Your Reignover may have held on to that a touch too long, but you can't shake the knockup.
Cooldown, just a few seconds on the cooldown for him, so he couldn't prevent the CC coming in before it was too late and he ends up going down. But greedy check as well from him.
Now on this BF pickaxe timing on the Lucian and the Alistar ulti being down, this could actually prompt a dive on the bot lane from the Unicorns, because Alistar obviously you never dive him because of Unbreakable. With Stan United, they could actually go for the dive. However, they have to make it quick, because 4 seconds is all it takes for Huni to land. Equalizer could turn it all around, but it could be another opening for the Unicorns here.
Especially also with the tier 1 tower already gone in top, it's going to take a while for Huni to shove it back down, so you can just see the Shen, if you pay attention to it in minimap, in case Unicorns are setting up for a dive, how he's just going to walk away from the minions, sit in a bush, ready, and then he can always TP in onto Hylissang when he jumps in first, or of course Elise if she's down on the bottom side. But this mid tower is slowly but surely going to be chipped away by the Azir, and if there's no help for Power Weevil, that tower will fall, so Unicorns have to be ready to make the play.
Well, you talk so much about a UOL tower dive. Fnatic say, screw that, we'll start our own. Vizichachi's going to be able to arrive. So does Huni. They've got one, but they've lost one in reply. Yellow Star is down. His first death of the series. Chachi is being focused by Huni and Reckless. Huni's tanking up the tower shots. Here comes Rainover. Undertow, Reckless swing, Undertow. He's got one more, and the kill credit to Featherfit. They may be able to get a tower. Undertow's going to at least slow Hylissang. Mystic shot comes out. Rainover's running. Mystic shot's being blocked. There's no true shot barrage. Hilly flashed for the Winter's bite, but it ends up biting him. Now Huni's coming back in. Gonna find 2 Electro Harpoons before Power of Evil gets his second kill of the game. PoE's not done yet. True shot barrage getting reduced on cooldown with each Mystic shot. Reckless, 300 HP. Flashes, another Mystic shot. Power of Evil's got a triple.
Such a greedy dive from Fnatic. They had no ulti on that Alistar. They're going for it. They know another one. 4 kills now for Power of Evil. This might just remove his weak mid game and shoot him straight towards the point where he's going to be so powerful with his ulti at least.
And the worst thing that's for Fnatic, they could have not predicted the amount of time that Hylissang spent in base. I just went on my screen and rewatched it. He was waiting around 10 to 15 seconds in his base trying to figure out where he was going. Then he went mid, went back to bottom. He could have arrived at the dive around 5 to 10 seconds earlier and punished Fnatic even harder. So this almost seemed like a panic reaction from Fnatic. Let's watch that again. He even flashes to get the right angle in the W knockup. He doesn't space out his cooldowns well enough. Bardax manages to survive long enough to distract people while Yellowstar goes down. And now Chachi, he's buying time. Look where Hylissang is. He could have actually been half a screen further, if not a full screen further, if he just didn't hesitate as much in the shop. This could have turned out very, very grim for Fnatic overall.
And there was absolutely no reason to go for this play. There were no pressure on the map. All the lanes were about to be shoved out because Unicorns had gone back to base. Instead, without the Alistar ulti, you take the dive. Unnecessary Power of Evil. Playing cleanup. I mean, he couldn't have asked for a better situation.
Yep.
Hylissang just slowing down targets for him, and then he can get in the damage. And really, Fnatic, that is not a play we normally see from them.
Uncharacteristic mistake from Fnatic here, but overall, fantastic cleanup by Power of Evil. That is one thing we did not point out in Champ Select. Ezreal can always safely apply more stacks to that Winter's Bite. Snipe. Because you have that apply on hit effects on the Ezreal Q, obviously, and against his slow posturing around objectives lineup from Fnatic, Brahmax actually might be a better support because Alistar is one engage only. Braum can just throw out.
They're gonna go again, by the way. They have ulti now.
Does have Unbreakable. Bardax is going to get focused, gets caught by the Boomerang blade. One more hit is all it needs. Reckless gets the kill. True Shot Barrage flies across from the middle lane. And this should be the tower as well. Chachi does not connect to the taunt. Here comes Rainover. We've got another fight, and Fnatic say we want more. They get themselves a ninja, and the Viking gets himself a tower.
So now was the right time for Fnatic. They had the ulti ready. No Shen ulti available at the time the dive started. Chachi should have cancelled that TP as soon as he realized there was nothing to do. Huni, though, also needs to back away because he just knew that 4 members from Fnatic was on the bottom side, so he's all alone up here on the top side.
No equalizer, no flash, and he's going to get stunned. Knock up into Cocoon. Huni's level 11. Gonna get chased down by Power of Evil, who finds his 5th kill. He's got himself a Luden's Echo. He's got himself the Runeglaive. And the man that needs to deal the damage for the Unicorns of Love is doing it. The cost of that kill was, of course, the tower in the mid lane. And you can see the damage, team damage distribution here.
The plays that were winning Unicorns of Love the games against Rocket was Horo and Hylissang working together on these roams, applying crowd control effects. And that's what we're going to need to see more from the Unicorns. Catch these Fnatic members off guard. Let Power Eagle roll. Finally, he's having some impact in other lanes. That's what he didn't have game 1. See more of that.
Still, again, Huni overextending. You invest 4 guys on the bottom side. You have one job as a top laner. You run. You don't try and overextend your own lane. You can't keep pushing multiple lanes at once because Unicorns will just walk up and gank you. But this build here from Power of Evil, it is so outdated. I mean, remember the Luden's Echo change that happened, so it didn't proc on Runeglaive as well. So we saw the APS will start simply skip Luden's Echo, it just went straight for Death Cap. He's not going back to it anyway because his damage is mainly going to come from his W, his E, and his ulti, where the Luden's Echo will proc. It still takes more time to stack it up and be effective. So
it does help that you're 5-0.
Sure, but that could have been a Death Cap he was building towards instead.
I agree.
Unicorns of Love.
Got me sold there, Deficio.
Punished Fnatic's tower dive to get their mid AP Ezreal very far ahead. Currently 1,000 gold up over Febiven. And at last check, it dealt around 8,000 damage to Febiven's 2,500 damage to champions, but that helps having a map-wide ultimate. And for Fnatic, they're looking for another aggressive play. Hylissang's going to be able to stand behind.
Equalizer comes out.
Goonies actually used the equalizer. The rest of Fnatic are saying that is a counter-warding ulti. Thank you, Hooney.
We're now 20 seconds or 10 seconds away from both Dragon and Baron spawning, and that is where this Fnatic lineup lies. We talk about all this action, how PoE is 5-0, but Fnatic still 1,000 gold in lead, and they still haven't hit their strong point, which is where all their members are together, posturing around an objective. We'll have to see if that actually punishes the Unicorns, or if they can find these CC chains that I've been doing so far in these small skirmishes. If they can also find that in the 5v5s, perhaps they have an opening.
And Power Weevil is the guy to watch for Unicorns here, because if he can connect some great poke, then he will force Fnatic to take the composition, use it aggressively to dive onto them. Otherwise, they can kite back with this Azir, with the Rylai's coming in second item for him, with the Sivir ulti as well, and suddenly Unicorns have 0 engage to get onto him. They're setting up a potential counter Baron, but Unicorns are keeping both Hylissang and Power Weevil near that Baron, so Fnatic are going for it, and second Dragon now for the Unicorns.
At the cost of the Baron comes the red buff and some jungle control. Fnatic takes that. Winter's Bite connects. Taunt Chachi, I don't really think you want to go in there. The good thing for Unicorns is, however, they have double check on that Baron. They can have send in the Ezreal ulti, and then later on they will have the Scrying Orb. Once Vardex finishes that, hopefully he realizes on this back that he has to buy that. I think against Fnatic as a team, you can run double Scrying Orb too. You really just don't want to let them have Baron.
Something we have seen Unicorns do quite a lot when they run poke champions. Power Weevil then gets a Scrying Orb, and then you have, as you just mentioned here, more ways to avoid a face check.
We do see Fnatic have picked up an early Void Staff for Febiven's second item. Slight departure from the previous game. Still holding on to a very, very minor gold lead thanks to those 2 towers, but Unicorns have got control of the Dragon Pit. Both times it spawned, and some defensive wards from the Unicorns of Love.
Game 1 we saw a Runeglaive at least. Horo's not opting for that. He's going CDR boots. Or he's just, yeah, he has CDR boots already, and he has the Cinder Hulk finished up. You see a tweet from Santorini coming in. Power Weevil definitely wants to stop Fnatic's win streak.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
It would be the 20th victory in a row, and Yellow Star, Reckless, Fnatic, they're all running. On the hunt is thrown down, and they will not find their targets. Fnatic.
Incredibly forced play by Fnatic.
It is so much easier for Fnatic if they shift their attention down towards objectives, set a vision around them, and force Unicorns to move down and check towards Fnatic. Not them chasing on the Unicorns here, trying to connect. Basically with Hooney's ulti as the engage, and a Sivir trying to speed up Alistar. They're making it very difficult to use the ultis correctly. Let's see though, it's very angry at the ground. Second time.
I like it.
Does not find his target. And for Fnatic, this composition that needs to run at you, that does have limited engage. It's something we've criticized other teams in the LCS, and Fnatic have usually, even without engage, found ways to make it work. This game's going to be a little more challenging.
Unicorns is sieging up the top lane. They obviously want to connect Cocoon or Winter's Bite, follow up with some damage and some poke. The main poke champion is still in the mid lane, but look at the bot lane, massive wave stack there. This does give them some momentum to make a play somewhere else on the map. It doesn't look like they're set up properly to really capitalize on that. All they're going to get is some vision control, and honestly, I think they're happy with that at this point.
Yeah, gotta take what you can get. Also for Fnatic, making sure they will have enough engage with the Sivir ulti. They have Talisman coming in. I like that from the other side. Can work both ways, defensively and offensively. Now a potential dive from the Unicorns aloft.
Flash for flash already. Fnatic have managed to get away for the time being, but they will lose their tower up top. Vardex forced to heal as well.
Shen can still go back though and defend this wave in time. He has his ulti, he doesn't need that TP. So Fnatic giving up a tower. And also, as we mentioned before, the Unicorns getting some control around the Baron. Power Weevil should be here to stop him, but look how fast he can take down towers. Apply that W as well to it, and then suddenly Israel has to either use ulti or see his tower drop really low.
Hooney managed to get some damage on the bottom inner turret as well before Chachi shows his face. Chachi going full tank on that Shen. Looking to control Hooney. No teleports for either top laner, but obviously Stand United is available, so if action were to break out, Chachi could join the fight.
Keep your eyes on Horo and Hylissang. They have to find an opening somewhere. They need to add some pressure to the map so Cocoon and Winter's Bite can force flashes, can force people out, and maybe net another tower, another objective. That's the way the Unicorns want to get ahead right now. And then eventually Power Weevil scaling up his poke. But he's playing against one of the biggest late game mid lane carries into Azir. So definitely will be a hard task for him, especially later on. Once you get some extra magic resistance as well, Aegis finished on a couple of members, then this poke is gonna diminish overall.
And Power Vivo is almost alone against the world, because the Lucian in these fights, there's so much zone control here he has to worry about. You know, you gotta worry about the Rumble ulti with your low range on Lucian. The Azir soldiers will destroy you in the late game. Olaf connecting one axe means the next one is gonna follow. So Vardax in these fights will have a very hard time dealing consistent damage. He always has to like try and dash around and like dodge what Fnatic's sending at him. So Power Vivo is basically on his own when it comes to dealing that DPS, where Fnatic has a Sivir and Azir. Even the jungler in the Olaf will deal good damage.
Unicorns are grouping up a bit too much, I feel. They're sharing so much farm between carries. They're not playing the map on 3 lanes. They're waiting for the lanes to be pushed in, and eventually they'll soak up some farm, but they're not putting pressure on all the lanes. It seems like they're afraid to split up because they obviously run that risk of getting engaged on by Talisman, by On The Hunt. They'll have to keep tracking these CS numbers for Vardax, because slowly but surely he's falling behind his counterpart Reckless. Now down about 36 CS at the 25-minute mark.
You mentioned engages from On The Hunt, engages from Ragnarok Equalizer. Fnatic have actually tried to push their advantage a few times, and it's cost them. The tower dive down bottom getting Power Vivo fed. The attempted push up top ended up allowing them to lose a tower. They did well to at least reply. But for Fnatic, slightly different style from what we're used to seeing in terms of forcing a fight but not coming away. This time around, they may find Horo using a proper death, but Horo's going to repel that. What goes up must come down before it goes down. Glacial Fissure, that's not the greatest, as Chachi is going to finish his Stand United. Hylissang's being focused out by Reckless with the red buff. Power of Evil and Vardax are going to move forward. That Arcane Shift goes out. True Shot Barrage not available. And while all that was going on, Febiven got a tower as well.
So we see a fight being forced from Fnatic. This time they've been using these 2 pink wards at the Baron just to force Unicorns to continue to walk in and try and place a ward, see if anything is going on. In the end, you have that face check. Everything gets popped from Fnatic. And nowhere to go for the Elise. Easy kill for them.
Yeah, that Shen ultimate has to come down on Hor before he repels upwards. So when you land, you bring down the Shen with you. Then you have to have Hylissang join you in the fight. Otherwise, it's simply too late. You will have so many brush check potential in the Ezreal, the Ezreal Q, at least W, but they got too close to the brush, got engaged on. Good read by Fnatic. Result of that play. Unicorns also get the dragon. Or who got that one?
Fnatic,
Okay.
yeah. So let's see it again here. Look at the pink wards, meaning that your Unicorns have to move in and try and see what's going on near this Baron, and that's where you get that face check.
But imagine if Shen was already on Horror here and landing with him. Shen ulti got loose really at the end, and now he flanks him from the side. So bit of a mismatch, miscommunication here, not respecting the brush check potential from Fnatic.
But finally we see Fnatic say, you know what? Let Unicorns come to us. Then we can use the vision here. We can use our composition in these choke points with Rumble ulti, the Zia soldiers. So effective. We are not chasing after you. And obviously Fnatic is still in control. Despite Power Vivo being so fed on the Ezreal, he is still alone on this team.
PoE 1v9. Now marginally ahead Febiven in gold. Of course, because Febiven's got himself some kills, got those global objectives. You've seen both teams playing for vision around Baron, but neither team is really starting it. We did see Yellow Star at least tagging it once. But it's not the priority, just the threat of Baron is what Fnatic is trying to play.
The problem with this Ezreal build though is, in this current patch, if you want to really make that AP shine with that Rune Glaive, you have to E aggressively forward. So far in the last of the fights, the way Huni has been using his equalizers, Power Vivo has to shift backwards every time because of the zone. That eliminates half of the damage really that can come out of it, and then he can poke from far, but he will only be hitting the front line from Fnatic, so he's not threatening the damage. Fnatic's just tearing through Unicorns with left front line. They really need to connect CC immediately and blow them up, because sustained damage over time, Fnatic has the edge.
And it was just why AP Israel as a pick before Rune Glaive wasn't really used, because he was more like, hey, I need to like one-shot one target, because you have fairly long cooldown on the rest of your abilities.
Yep.
Then suddenly you could start using your Q. Rune Glaive was great. Here's an engagement from Fnatic.
Once again, can they find a target? You can if you get the pulverize. Hylissang throws out his ulti. The Stand United not going to complete. That means Chachi can't arrive. Fnatic have got 2 kills. They found a 3rd, spreading him across the team, and they're going to set up for base. Vardax, why were you not with your team?
Well, the thing is, even if it was with this team here, Fnatic, they have so much engaged now with Sivir ulti, Talisman, the Olaf who can run with the tank items in the front, and Unicorns of Love. I don't know how they want to win a team fight with this composition as well. Unless Power Weaver can single out a target before it even starts, they simply won't have the damage.
Unicorns' level up composition is built around skirmishes in smaller numbers, letting that CC count, keep somebody locked down. Don't allow them to do so much damage. Look how quick that Baron goes down, and Fnatic right now, it's a stampede. They're just finding a target, and eventually they don't really care who they go for. Yellowstar here right now goes in, pops ultimate, then goes for a combo on Hylissang. As long as he gets the support, and look at Power Weasel, has to shift backwards, gets axed in as well. Even Shen ultimate doesn't come down in time because the equalizer is just literally burning him alive. There's nothing he can do. It's too much damage and too much mobility coming out of this Fnatic lineup. But at least Vardex took down the Crux. Something.
We got some adaptation as well for Unicorns in the pick and ban phase. Shen Elise came in the first rotation. More focus on the early game. It was
a pick here on Reignover.
Better. Let's see. Reignover does have ulti ready.
Unicorns still holding steady. Their super minions pouring to the middle lane. They can't just sit here.
It's almost a cliche. If you get behind against Fnatic, what do you do? Pull a Fnatic on them.
Not gonna work this time, boys.
Oh, set up.
It may actually do.
In the world.
3 members stuck in the mid lane. Olaf, Azir, and Rumble are still looking to join. Yellowstar wants to peel as long as he can.
Yellowstar.
Now this might be rough. Fnatic might just simply out-rotate Unicorns here. Who's ganking who?
We're swapping sides. There's no on the hunt. Reignover gets caught. Ragnarok will get thrown down. Ghosts up as well. The engage finds Power of Evil. With him out the fight, a lot of the damage is removed. Vardex gets crit down. Double kill comes in for Reckless. They will find an ace with super minions in the base. Fnatic looks to find their 20th win in summer.
Slower early game for Fnatic. A few mistakes, honestly, with the dive they had early on. But as soon as we got to these team fights around the Baron, they started using the ping wards. They got their mobility build up. Well, then Unicorns of Love, their comp simply had nothing to do in these fights.
Fnatic continue their undefeated streak in the European LCS and are 1 game away from guaranteeing an appearance in the World Championships.
How does one stop this Fnatic roster? Where's the weaknesses? The only real mistakes we've seen so far this game is Fnatic overreaching, putting themselves in the dumpster almost, going for that stupid tower dive. Not even stupid, it was a decent idea. Risky tower dive. Kind of didn't really pay off. Then you have Huni overextending in the top lane, but that is...
Wait, if it's Fnatic, it deserves a little slap.
Yeah.
You had no